So, welcome again, guys. Today we are going to start chapter 2 from your standard 6 NCRT social studies. The chapter name is From Hunting, Gathering to Growing Food. So, let's get started. Now, here is a question. Tushar train journey. Now, Tushar took a train journey. Tushar was going from Delhi to Chennai for his cousin's wedding. They were traveling by train and he had managed to squeeze into the window seat. So Tushar got on the train for the wedding that he had, wedding for the wedding, and he got a window seat on the train. His nose glued to the glass pan. As he watched trees and houses fly past, his uncle tapped his shoulder and said, "Do you know that train were first used about 150 years ago and that people began using buses a few decades later?" So his uncle said to Tushar that these trains were also used 150 years back ago, right? And buses were also used. Tushar wondered, when people couldn't travel quickly from one place to another, did they spend their entire lives wherever they born? So, not quite, right? So Tushar had a simple question that when these trains or buses they were not present, so do people live their entire life where they were born, right, in the same village? So not quite, right? Because there were bullock carts for traveling, horses for traveling from one place to another. So it was not the case, right? Now let's get started to our main chapter. The earliest people. Why were they on the move? So earliest people also, they had horses, bullock carts, right, to travel. So they traveled by these means. We know about people who lived in subcontinent as early as 2 million years ago. So, what kind of people lived in our subcontinent? Today, we describe them as hunter and gatherer. So, what kind of people lived in our subcontinent? Hunter and gatherers, right? The name comes from the way in which they got their food, right? Generally, they hunted wild animals. So, their main job was to hunt wild animals and use them as their food. They caught fish and birds for food, gather fruits from the trees, roots of the trees to eat, nuts, seeds, leaves, stalks, and eggs. So these were some things that these people did, and because of this finding food, they traveled to different regions, right? Hunter gatherers move from places to place. There are many reasons for this. Now we are going to see what are the reasons for which these hunter and gatherers they moved from place to place. So first reason is, if they had stayed at one place for a long time, they would have eaten up all the available plants and animal resources. So first reason is, if they had stayed in one place for a long time, the resources from that place like birds, fruits, etc., they would have eaten it up all. So there wouldn't be anything left for them to eat. So that's why they move from places to places, right? Second, animals move from places to places, right? Either in search of smaller prey, or in case of deer, wildcat, in search of grass, leaves. That is why those who hunted them had to follow their movements. Now, the second reason is saying that because also animals move from places to places, and hunter and gatherers they were dependent on these animals for their food. That's why they have to move also, right? And the third reason here is, in your textbook, that plants and trees bear fruit in different seasons. Exactly, because we have three seasons: winter, summer, and monsoon, right? In India. So, because of this reason, some plant bear fruit in some season, right? So some trees bear fruit in some particular season. So because of that also, these people moved from places to places. So people have moved from season to season in search of different kind of plants. So for different kind of plant, people moved. Fourth, now, what is the fourth reason because of which hunter-gatherers move from one place to another? The fourth reason is people and plants and animals need water to survive. Water is found in lakes, streams, and rivers, right? So, water is found in rivers. While many rivers and lakes are perennial, that is, what is meant by perennial? Perennial means they have water throughout the year, like river Narmada, like the river Ganga. These are the rivers which have water throughout the year. Others are seasonal rivers. Seasonal rivers means they get dry, like Ganga river, right? People living on their banks would have to go in search of water during the dry seasons, winter and summer. So, people living on the banks of the river, which were seasonal rivers, basically the water from these rivers was dried out in the summer. So, they would have to move to different places, right? Move to different places to find the water that they required. Now, now we will move to second paragraph. How do we know about these people? Now this is a very important question. How do you know about these people? Now, in earlier chapter we have studied that archaeologist, which the people who study the past by by digging in the under the earth and finding out the different cultures or different artifacts, right? These are called archaeologists. They have found some of the things hunter gathered, made and used. So archaeologists found some of these things, right? It is likely that people made and used tools of stones. So what archaeologists are saying that the hunter and gatherers used tools of stones, wood and bone, of which stones have survived the best, right? Stone is a very hard material, that's why it survived, and that's how archaeologists found them. Some of these stone tools were used to cut meat, bone, scrap bark from trees, and hides animal skins. Right. So these tools were used for lot of different things. They chopping fruits and chopping the roots of the tree to be eaten by the hunter and gatherers. Some may have been attached to the handles of the bones or wood to make spears and arrows for hunting. Now, other tools were used to chop woods, which was used as firewood. Wood was also used to make huts and tools. So, this wood from the tree was used to make huts. And what is the use of hut? The use of hut is to stay in the place, right? Hunter and gatherer required shelter to stay in one place. That's why they built huts, right? So as you can see here, these are the two diagrams that are given, pictures given in your book. So stone tools may also have been used for, right? So this is the left and this is the right picture. So left picture, digging the ground to collect edible roots. So for digging the ground, you needed people, hunter and gatherers needed stone with a sharp edge, right? For digging the ground for edible roots. Now, stitching cloths. This stone was used for stitching cloths made out of animal skin. Also, stones was used for stitching cloth out of animal skin. Right. Now, choosing a place to live in. Now, we have to look at the map number 2 below. All the places marked with the red triangles are sites from which archaeologists have found evidence of hunter and gatherers. So, these red triangles, like Bhimteka is a place. Also, Hangsi is a place. Karnal caves are the places where archaeologists have found the you know uh, uh, evidence of hunter and gatherers. They have found the evidence of hunter and gatherers. And how this evidence was found of hunter and gatherers? They found the stone tools at these sites. So they assumed that hunter and gatherers might have lived here. right? Now, only some of are shown in the map. Many sites were located near the source of water. So as you can see, near the source of water, many sites were located, such as rivers and lakes, right? So as you can see, Bhimtika is located near Narmada River, right? Near Krishna River, Hangsi is located. Also, Kurnal is located, right? So these were some important facts. Now, let's move on. Now, as you can see here, Bhimtika in the present day Madhya Pradesh, this is an old site with caves and rock shelters, right? So you can visit this Bhimtika. It is a old site. It is having caves and rock shelter. People choose these natural caves because they provided shelter from the rain, heat, and wind. These rock shelters are close to the Narmada Valley. Can you think of why people chose to live here? So people chose to live here because there was a water in the Narmada River, and that's why there was a lot of forest area, lot of food for the hunter and gatherers. That's why people chose to live there, right? Now, as stone tools were important, people tried to find places where good quality stones was easily available. Now people were trying to find the places where good quality stones, hard stone was available. As you can see in this blue box, rock painting and what they tell us. So these are some rock painting that were found by archaeologists in these caves where hunter and gatherers lived. A painting from a rock shelter. So this was the painting, right? This was the painting that one person is running at some prey, that is some animal, uh, to eat this animal, right? Many caves in which these early people lived have paintings on the wall. Some of the best examples are from Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. These paintings show wild animals drawn with a great accuracy and skills. So hunter and gatherers also they draw paintings on the wall to tell us that they were doing hunting and gathering uh, in these in this in the past, right? For food. So as you can see here, this is a cave. This is a cave where these paintings are found even today. Even when you visit this Bhimteka in Madhya Pradesh, you can easily find these caves where the cave painting was made, right? Now we are going to see some sites. What are the sites? This orange block will tell you what are the sites. Sites are places where remains of things like tools, pots, building, etc. were found. So what are the sites? Sites are some places where tools, buildings, remains are found from the past, where hunter and gatherer used to live. These were made, used, and left behind by people. These may be found on the surface of the earth, buried under the earth, or sometimes even underwater. You will learn more about different sites in later chapters. Now, finding out about fire. Now, we will know that how these hunter gatherers from the past found out about the fire. So find Karnool caves on map 2, page 13. So now we are going to find Karnool caves. So this is our map, right? So where is a Karnool cave? So as you can see here, this is a Karnool cave. So this is a Karnool cave, right? This is your Karnool cave. Where is it located? So this is located here in Andhra Pradesh region, right? So Karnool cave. Now traces of ash have been found here. So this suggests that the people were familiar with the use of fire. So when we burn wood, we get ash, right? Ash as a result of burning of wood. So the archaeologists found these ash, right, which was used. Fire could have been used for many things, as a source of light, to roast meat, and to scare away animals. So hunter and gatherers use fire to uh, to scare some animals, to roast meat for food and for light also. Why do we use fire today? So tell me, why do we use fire today? So today in the villages, Indian villages also, we use fire to, heat the water for bathing. For to have a bath, we heat the water, so we require fire to cook food. For food also, for food we require fire, right? So these are some examples of the use of fire. So names and dates. Now this blue box will tell us names and dates. Now archaeologists have given lengthy names of the time that we are studying. They call the earliest period Paleolithic. Now this is very important. What we are studying in this blue box is very important, because archaeologists have given these names of the periods of the past, because it was very necessary to classify these past events, right? Because you cannot say past all the time. This happened in the past. You have to be specific that at what age this happened. So archaeologists told us that this is a Paleolithic period. The earliest period was Paleolithic period, right? This comes from two Greek words, right? Paleo means old and lithos means stone. The name points to the importance of finds of stone tools. So Paleolithic age is related to stone tools. Remember, Paleolithic age is related to stone tools. The Paleolithic period extends from 2 million years to about 12,000 years ago. So this was the time period of Paleolithic age. 2 million years ago to 12,000 years ago. This long stretch of time is divided into lower, upper, middle, and upper Paleolithic. So this was the division. This long span of time covers 99% of human history. So very important information is given in this paragraph, first paragraph. That is, the period, the oldest period was the Paleolithic period. In this Paleolithic period, stone tools were used by hunter and gatherers. This period was 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. This Paleolithic period is divided into lower, middle, and upper Paleolithic period, and 99% of human history was can be found in this Paleolithic period. Now, the period when we find environmental changes beginning about 1200 years ago till about 10,000 years ago is called Mesolithic. Now, this is a second period. That is, the second period is Mesolithic period, where environmental changes have been found, right? And stone tools found during this period are generally tiny and are microliths. So in this period also stone tools were found, but they are called microliths because of their tiny size. Microliths were probably stuck onto the handles of the bones or wood to make tools such as saw and sickles, right? At the same time, older varieties of tool continued to be in use. So this is a Mesolithic second classification of time period, in which microliths, that is tiny stone tools, were used. The next stage from about 10,000 years ago is known as Neolithic. Now this is very important. Neolithic age. Now first was Paleolithic, second was Mesolithic, and third is Neolithic. So what do you think the term Neolithic means? So what is the meaning of Neolithic? We have also mentioned the names of some places, right? You will find the names of many places in later chapter. Very often we use present day names of the places where people lived in the past, because we do not know what they are, what they called them, right? Now, changing environment. So this changing environment was present in which period? That is Mesolithic period, right? Mesolithic period. Around 12,000 years ago, there were major changes in the climate of the world, right? With the shift to relative warm conditions. In many areas, this led to the development of grasslands, right? Because of change in environment. This in turn led to increase in number of deers, antelope, goats, sheep, cattle, that is animal that survived on grass. So because of the grasslands, these goats, sheep, cattle, they their number got increased, and because there was a lot of grass to eat, those who hunted these animals now followed them, right? Learning about their food habitats and their breeding seasons. It is likely that this helped people to start thinking about herding and rearing these animals themselves. Fishing also became important. So, because these animals were present in the large number, people people were eating these animals also. But as this number of animals were a lot of numbers of animals were there, they tried to think about herding or rearing them, that is, you know uh, rearing for agriculture, using these animals for agriculture, for a lot of other things, for milk also. So fishing also became important. So as you can see here, this age known as mesolithic mesolithic, right? So mesolithic age was the age where change in environment happened, right? The beginning of farming and herding. Now we will see about beginning of farming and herding. This was also a time when several grain bearing grasses including wheat, barley, rice grew naturally in different parts of subcontinent. Men, women and children probably collected these grains as food and learned where they grew and when they ripened. So people learned about rice, wheat, because they were present naturally in, right? This may have led them to think about growing plants on their own. In this way, people became farmers. So, as you can see, people now became farmer. People could also attract and tame animals by leaving food for them near their shelters. The first animal to be tamed was the wild ancestor of the dog, right? So as you can see today, we have dogs in our homes for various purposes. So when these started, ancient people started taming these animals, right? That's why today we lot of people in their homes have dogs, cats as their pet animals, right? Later, people encouraged animals that were relatively gentle to come near the camps where they live. These animals, such as sheep, goat, cattle, also the pig, lived in the herds, and most of them ate grass. Often, people protected these animals from attacks by other wild animals. This is how they became herders, right? This is how they started to have these pigs, goats, cattle in their farms, so that they will be helpful for their agriculture. Can you think of any reason why dogs was perhaps the first animal to be tamed? So because dogs were very friendly, and that's why, and they were loyal, basically loyal to humans, that's why they were tamed. Now there is something in this yellow box. What is domestication? Now we will see what is this domestication, this word called domestication. Domestication is the name given to a process in which people grow plant and look after animals. So nowadays, a lot of the farmers of India, what they do is they grow plants, right? And they look after their animals like cow, buffalo, etc. So that is the domestication, right? Very often plants and animals that are tended by people become different from wild plants and animals. This is because people select plants and animals for domestication. For example, they select those plants and animals that are not prone to disease, right? So they select those plants and animals that are not prone to disease. So as you can see here, they also select plants that yield large size grains and have strong stalks, right? Capable of bearing the weight of ripe grains. Seeds from selected plants are preserved and sown to ensure that new plants will have the same qualities. Amongst animals, those that are relatively gentle are selected for breeding. As a result, gradually domesticated animals and plants become different from wild animals, right? So the paragraph is saying that when these people started rearing animals, uh, these animals became different from the wild animals, right? There was a wild dog and there was a regular dog, because uh, these dogs were staying with the human civilization. So that's what made them different. For example, teeth and horns of wild animals are usually much larger than those of domesticated animals. So as you can see, evolution happened here. So as you can see, the teeth of the dog that farmer has is small, while the teeth of the dog which is in the wild, that is in the forest, it may be large. And why large teeth were needed? Large teeth were needed for hunting different animals. So, and small teeth needed because these were staying with the human hunter and gatherers. Look at these two set of teeth. Which do you think belong to wild pig and which uh, to domesticated one? So this was the domesticated one. This was wild pig, right? Domestication was gradual process that took place in many parts of the world. It began about 12,000 years ago. So it was a very long process, right? Virtually all the plants and animals produce that we use as a food today is the result of domestication. Some of the earliest plant to be domesticated were wheat, barley. Earliest domesticated animals include sheep and goats. So sheep and goats was domesticated earlier, right? Now, new ways of life. What were these new ways of life? So as you can see, ways in which grains were used. So grains were used as seed, as food, as gifts, and they were stored for food. So as you can see here, still today we use these grains as seed, right? We use these grains like wheat for making chapati, for making roti, as food, for giving gifts, for storing food. Now a new way of life. If you plant a seed, you will notice that it takes some time to grow. This may be for several days, weeks, months, and in some cases years. When people began growing plant, it meant that they had to stay in same place for a long time, right? So when people started growing plants or people started farming, they had to stay in same place, right? To look after their plants and animals, right? To water them, to uh, drive away animals and birds, to protect their farming land, right? And then the grain had to be used carefully. Now, as the grain had to be stored for both food and seed, people had to think of ways of storing it. Now people had lot of food, lot of grains. Now they wanted to store this food. In many areas, they began making large clay plots and woe basket or dug pits around the ground. Do you think hunter-gatherer would have made and used pots? Give reason for your answer. So the question is, do you think hunter-gatherers would have made and used pots? So hunter and gatherers uh, also they use these pots and made these pots because to gather or to store the grains in the pot, they use these pots, right? Now, storing animals. Animals multiply naturally. Besides, if they are looked after carefully, they provide milk, which is an important source of food, meat, whenever required. In other words, animals that are reared can be used as store for food. Apart from food, what are the other things that could have been obtained from animals? What are the animals used for today? So other things that animal from animal can be obtained, like uh, fertilizer can be obtained for the agriculture, for the plants, for the seeds, fertilizer from their feces. Also milk can be obtained by these animals, right? So today also, for fertilizers in the field, for organic fertilizers, we use these animals. Find out about the first farmers and herders. Now, now, as you can see here, turn to map 2. You will notice a number of blue squares. Each marks a site from where archaeologists have found evidence of early farmers and herders. So, we are going to see from where archaeologists found these early farmers and herders, right? So, as you can see, this is the blue box, right? Hallur, right? Chirat. So these are some places, Mahagara, from where the farmer farming land was used here, right? So archaeologists have found the evidence of early farmers and herders. These are found all over the subcontinent. Some of the most important ones are in the northwest and in present day Kashmir, and in the east and south India. To find out whether these sites were settlements of farmers and herders, scientists study evidence of plants and animals' bones. So, scientists took a study of plants and animal bones to find out about where these farmers had settled. One of the most exciting finds includes remains of burnt grains. Scientists can identify these grains, and so, so we know that number of crops were grown in different parts of subcontinent. They can also identify the bones of different animals, right? Now towards a settled life. Now hunter and gatherers, they became farmers first. They started rearing animals, and then they got a settled life because they were staying in the same place, because they had farmlands, they had animals, right? Archaeologists have found traces of huts and houses at some sites, for instance, in Burzahom in present day Kashmir. So, in Kashmir, you can see this place as Burzahom, where archaeologists have found traces of huts. People built pit houses which were dug into ground with steps leading into them. These may have provided shelter in cold weather. So, why houses were built? Because of shelter in the cold weather. Archaeologists have also found cooking hearths both inside and outside the hut, which suggested that depending on the weather, people could cook food either indoors and outdoors. So these huts were used for cooking food also, and for staying, uh, for preventing from the cold weather. Draw a peat house. So you can draw the peat house very easily. Stones Stone tools have been found from many sites as well. Many of these are different from earlier Paleolithic tools. That is, and that is why they are called Neolithic. So these includes tools that were polished to give fine cutting edge, mortars, pestles, used for grinding grains, and plant produce mortars, pestles are used for grinding grains even today. Several thousand years later, right? At, at the same time, tools of the Paleolithic types continued to be made and used, and remember, some tools were also made of bones. So, as you can see, some stone tools that were used by the farmers to crush the seeds, or uh, the seeds of the plants, right? So, these were some tools used. Many kinds of earthen pots have been found. These were some decorated, right? These were sometimes decorated and were used for storing things. People began using pots for cooking food, especially grains like rice, wheat, lentils, that now became an important part of diet. Besides, they began weaving cloths using different kinds of material, for example, cotton, that could now be grown. Like as you can see here, this is a jar. What do you think could have been stored in this jar? So milk could have been stored in this jar. Some grains could have been stored in these jars, right? Did things change everywhere and all at once? Not quite. In many areas, man and woman still continued to hunt and gather food, and elsewhere, people adopted farming and herding slowly. Over several thousand years, besides, in some cases, people tried to combine these activities, doing different things during different seasons. So, as you can see here, people combine these activities. A closer look: living and dying in Mehergarh. So you can see this Mehergarh on map too. Now we will see what this Mehergarh represent. This site located in a fertile plain near Bolan Pass, so which is one of the most important routes into Iran. Mehergarh was probably one of the places where people learned to grow barley and wheat. So as you can see here, this barley and wheat was first grown in this Mehergarh, right, near Bolan Pass. So near Bolan Pass. So this place known as Mehergarh. We are going to see where this Mehergarh is. So as you can see here, this is the Mehergarh. So this was a passage to Iran, right? Iran. Now, it is one of the earliest villages that we know about. So, Mehergarh was earliest villages. At this site, many animals' bones were found. Bones of wild animals such as deer, pig, and also bones of sheep, goat were found. So, because of this archaeological survey, we found these bones and we traced back uh, that we got the knowledge about what kind of things people used at that time. Other finds at Mehergarh include remains of square and rectangular houses, right? Today we use generally square houses, rectangular houses, right? So at that time also these rectangular and square houses were used. Each house had four or more compartments, some of which may have been used for storage, also food storage. When people die, their relatives and friends generally pay respects to them. People look after them, perhaps in the belief that there is some form of life after their burial, is one such arrangement. Several burial sites have been found at Mehergarh. In one instance, the dead person was buried with goat, which were probably meant to serve as food in the next world. So these were some beliefs at that time, right? So as you can see, a house in Mehergarh. So this is a house in a Mehergarh. This is what a house in Mehergarh may have been looked like. In what ways is this house similar to one in which you live today? So today also we use in square and rectangular houses, right? We have square and rectangular rooms. So similar to that in Mehergarh. A burial from Mehergarh. Can you identify the skeleton of goat? So as you can see, this is human skeleton. These two are goat skeleton. So this was believed that after life, for eating, uh, this food is also available, right? Now we are going to see elsewhere. What was happening elsewhere? Cave painting in France. Find France in your atlas. Now the painting below is from the cave in France. This is no, this is the cave painting that was found in the France. So as you can see, these are two animals. They are fighting, right? So many of these animals, such as wild horse, right? Bison, woolly rhinoceros, reindeer, bear painted in the bright color. These colors were made from minerals like iron ore, charcoal. It is possible that these paintings were done on ceremonial occasion, or perhaps they were made of special rituals performed by hunters before they went in search of prey. Can you think of any reason? So these paintings were used because they wanted they wanted to show that these things were happening at that time, right? Now, elsewhere, now we are going to see some keywords: hunter and gatherer, site, habitat, factory, Paleolithic, Mesolithic, microliths, domestication, farmers, herders, Neolithic, barriers. These are some keywords that are used in this chapter, and very often these keywords will be used in your future also. Now, Neolithic site, elsewhere. Find Turkey in your atlas. So you have to find France and Turkey in your atlas. One of the most famous Neolithic sites, Çatalhöyük, Çatalhöyük was found in Turkey. Several things were brought from great distance: flint from Syria, cowries from Red Sea, shells from Mediterranean Sea, and used in the settlement. Remember, there were no charts, no carts. Most things would have been carried on the back of pack animals such as cattle or by people. So at that time there were nothing was used for transport, just cattle or the animals were used for transport. What do you think cowries and shields would have been used for? So this is very important question. You have to find out about this. Now, imagine you live in a rock shelter like the one shown on the page 14. About 12,000 years ago, your uncle is painting one of the inner walls of the cave and you want to help him. Will you mix the colors? Draw the lines? Fill in the colors? What are the stories he might tell you? So you have to imagine this, right? Now there is some exercise. So this is the end of this chapter. Thank you for listening.